As you heard, I'm Stefan, and I'm the founder and CEO of 157. We sell jeans and denim. Probably the most boring and basic business idea you can ever imagine. So, on the other hand, we're also building a global retail company. And it's been a while since a global retail company was built. Since then we have had digitalization and e-com, and the competition has multiplied since e-com arrived. We have a totally new play field, and we have not the last 6 months we have not missed the geopolitical aspect coming in. We have China taking a totally new position in the global economy, and we have, of course, EU with its regulations, positive and negative, that we need to work on. So is it possible to do it today? That is the big question. Is it possible to build a new global retail company from Sweden? This is my grandfather, and I remember how I stood beside him at his cutting table at his atelier. So he took up the paper patterns and he put them on the fabric, and he put heavy lead weights on to keep it still. And then he used the chalk, and he took the big tailoring scissors and cut. So he was a tailor, my grandfather, and he came from simple upbringing in Småland, and he educated himself at Tillskärarakademin here in Stockholm. After that he took his first job in Borås at Oscar Jacobsson factories, and after a few years there he opened up his own atelier, producing blazers and suits to the local community until he was 83 and passed away. So he was my big inspiration, and he led me into the industry. And I started doing business really early. I was like 13, 14 years, something like that. And at 18 I started my first company, where I managed overstock and e-com returns, or it wasn't called e-com by then, it was the mail order industry in Borås. So I went through all the warehouses in the area and took care of it. And after that company I've done almost everything you can do in the industry. I've been working with design, production, I've run stores, I've worked with brands all over the world, and I've been working with production development in Italy with early automation, but also in Lithuania after the Soviet Union fell, and I learned a lot from that. So I didn't know it by then, but I spent my first 10 years actually learning about the practicalities. And he was actually the one that brought me into the industry with his stories about how the fabrics came from inspiring places like Florence, Prato and Nîmes, and how new fashion came from London, Paris and Milan. So he was my true inspiration, and he still is. And he was the one that, as I said, brought me into the industry. And during the first 10 years, I actually only learned how to master the basics. But I did it not through school. I did everything in a practical way. I have no education at all. So I did everything, let's say, based on basic practicalities. So making the trades, packing the boxes, serving the customers, all these practical things that in the beginning seemed to have little or almost no value. All these things I did for years and years. And as I said, it didn't feel to bring me so much value in the beginning, but today I see that that is actually what makes me stand out today. That makes me different from my peers. Because doing everything in a practical way, I learned a lot. I learned how long a thing takes for real when you're doing it. I learned all the obstacles doing it, how much resources you need for real doing it. And with that, all unit economics that you know a lot more than me about. But I know it, let's say, for real. So with these things, I learned how to really connect all the processes, learning where the challenges are when you're building a supply chain. So that, let's say, practical way is what I am, let's say, built by. But everything started here at the Road 157 in 1999. So everything started with taking care of overstock from external brands. And I had 10 years of experience when I opened it. And it was the time of the Swedish fashion wonder, and I did have some connections. So it was easy to take care of the brands such as Acne, Filippa K, J. Lindeberg, Nudie, all of them I was working with. And it went really well, actually. So we did some profit already from year one, and we constantly was growing in the early years. So it was not bad at all. But after a while, I was, let's say, more interested in the basics. So looking at the basics and my own brand was more and more interesting. Because I've always been interested in a product's real and fundamental value. What happens with a product when you take away the logo? The interest to deep dive into these things, into simplicity, into raw material, and into the inner core. That was actually what made me go all in and try to be leader of basics. I really wanted to create an anti-brand. So our concept is built around a pretty narrow line of base products. Products for everyday life. So, as I said, pretty boring. But on the other hand, it's products with clear purpose, made out of a true need, and products to be used many times. We try to create products that are so clean and simple so that they fit in all wardrobes. To a quality that even picky customers appreciate, and a price that everyone can afford. We have no specific customer target group. We really focus on reaching all customers. All customers, no matter what economical or social status. We have all different ages, all different interest groups, all genders, sexualities, of course, all cultures. We really want to be a truly democratical brand. Our company has been built around the interest also from the industry. And I mean the heavy industry. So we created a supply chain and business model that we call 600-600. And it's based around 600 main articles with 60% carryovers, and we aim to have 0% waste. And just as a comparison to our 600, Zalando has 1.8 million articles and H&M has around 50,000. So just to put it in some kind of perspective. So this production line and supply chain idea we built around the inspiration from Toyota Production Systems and traditional focuses from the industry, such as efficient processes, of course being efficient with all resources, but also using logic, data, etc. in the world of fashion. And with that, for real, putting the supply chain in the center of the business model. And doing that, of course, we need to do some adjustments for the dynamics of the complex business of fashion. We have the cultural aspect in business combined with finance, practicalities and processes. That is what makes fashion so extremely complex. So let's say more or less no investors want to be there. But we've been doing it and wanting to create something really good. And when you create something really good, it can be an idea, a project, or a company. You need to be willing to work really, really hard for a long time. I've been doing my stuff now for almost 27 years. So you need to be able to prioritize strategy over tactic. You need to be focused on long-term instead of short-term profits. And you need to have long-term goals. And you need to keep building. Always keep building and keep learning. Step by step, day in and day out. Continuity is a super important thing. In the beginning, it might feel like nothing is really happening. You might feel that you're even going backwards sometimes. But if you keep working like that, you have your goal, you have your target. You keep building, you keep learning, and slowly you start getting somewhere. You're building a position in the market, you're getting more efficient, you start building some scale. And if you do that, sooner or later you will come to that position where this adds up to some kind of compound effect, which I think is super, super important. Reaching this situation where you have a compound effect that supports the continuous growth of the company. But of course, it needs to be sustainable in many ways. Because if you're going out too hard, no matter what you do, let's say you push 120%, you're maybe a little bit too early for the market, or you go too hard. A little bit too hard, a little bit too early. It's super easy to break your back. On the other hand, 98% is even worse. Because if you're on 98%, you're definitely on a decline. And you're slowly reaching a place where you for sure don't want to be. 102, that is the perfect number. And it's built on the super basic idea of we do what we did yesterday. And then just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Small continuous improvements over long time. The Japanese call it Kaizen. We call it 102. So 102 is our way of securing that we're always forward-leaning. Always forward-leaning and systematically taking care of all opportunities that we get in front of us. One of those opportunities right now is Germany. Germany and Europe. We opened up our first store and e-com in Germany in December. And you know everything about the German economies, and you know, let's say, how they feel there right now. And you can almost sense how important it is for the German people when you come there. How open they are for new ideas, for some kind of forward movement, and some kind of hope and growth. It's pretty concrete how the feeling is there. So I think that Germany, we have so much opportunities. Not only we, 157 as a company, but all Swedish society. We have a lot of opportunities, not only in Germany, but the whole of Europe right now. So I think that that is a super good starting place if you want to build a global retail company. And it is an opening we have right now. So we need to take care of it. So do I think that we can build a global retail company based on the Swedish countryside? Yes. I don't only think that we can do it. I'm 102% totally convinced. Thank you.